Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So, a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint.
At first, everything seems perfectly normal. Calm faces, polite conversations, and those practiced political smiles that hide more than they reveal. But beneath that quiet surface, something is building, something no one wants to admit. And when the truth finally hits, it comes crashing down like a storm, shaking every word and every promise that came before it. What's about to unfold, no one could have prepared you for.
Two very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining. Yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question.
If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon, because more real stories are coming your way soon.
Now, what I want to
Still
go
false.
through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you were already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there. Even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice, or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? Because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
Time of the gentlelady's expired. Gentlemen would like to respond to any of that. Well, I'll respond. Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Texas is getting noticed. Wow, so much has happened today. I don't even know where to begin. So, I'll just start by telling a few important facts. First of all, we need to be clear about this. Christopher Wray, the guy who is now in charge of the FBI, was actually chosen for that job by Donald Trump. Now, I'll admit, I don't always agree with Donald Trump, especially when it comes to the people he picks for big jobs like this one. I had to double-check to make sure I wasn't imagining things. But seriously, when I say this man is the least prepared FBI director we've ever had, I'm not joking. He's the only one who never even worked at the FBI before becoming the boss. But we're all supposed to act like he's the best thing ever. I didn't ask him a question. I'm just saying the truth. Now let's talk about why he's not doing a good job and why, honestly, we should just say goodbye to him. I saw how he got upset and acted like he was doing great when he talked to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through what went wrong. Even before he got the job officially, one of my co-workers from Georgia pointed out that he was already trying to go after people who worked there for a long time, just so he could fire them for bad reasons. And the cases he's mad about now, the ones that have to do with Trump, actually came from the FBI director that Trump chose himself. Honestly, when people say things like, "I feel safe now," I don't get it. Who feels safe in this country? Probably white supremacists. As a black woman, I can tell you, I definitely don't feel safe. And I've seen my coworkers be super polite to him today, and I respect that. But I can't be that calm. A lot of people on my side of politics have gotten death threats. Someone even tried to kill one of them. And honestly, I don't know if, under Wray's leadership, the FBI would even catch people like that. I just don't trust him. And if you want to know why I don't trust him, let's start with something simple. He won't even admit some basic facts, like how most of the threats we're getting are from far-right extremists. I know my co-workers have tried to explain this, but I thought I'd do it differently. For example, Kim Buck, he's a Republican, got death threats just for voting against Jim Jordan for House Speaker. That's real. Another Republican lawmaker also got threats for voting the same way. And another co-worker said he's leaving Congress because people were calling his wife and threatening to kill her. She was so scared, she slept with a gun. That's serious. So here's the big question. How are we supposed to trust the FBI when Wray just told the Senate yesterday that it could take him 14 years to get the FBI fully staffed? And now he's taking workers from important jobs and making them act like ICE agents out on the streets. He's also getting rid of the people who are the best at their jobs. And even when it comes to someone he called a friend, he went out to a fancy dinner and posted online twice about catching someone. And both times he was wrong. But he still tried to act like a hero. Honestly, if it weren't for some parents who turned in their own kid, it sounds like the FBI wouldn't have even found the guy, even though he admitted what he did online. So now I'm just wondering, what is the FBI really doing? Are they just putting on a show for Trump or whoever he listens to? Right after all this happened, there were terrorist threats at HBCUs. Those are historically black colleges and universities. They were clearly targeted. But I didn't hear a thing from the FBI about it. Again, black people were asking, why are we the ones being targeted? The numbers are super clear. White supremacy is a big problem. But honestly, nothing Ray said today makes me believe he's going to actually do anything about it. And that's the same white supremacy that's getting kids shot and killed, and people hurt while they're just doing their jobs or going to church. The speaker's time was up. If the FBI director wants to reply to any of that, well, I will reply. Patel, who I introduced earlier, he's a public defender. He used to be a prosecutor. He worked at the House Intelligence Committee, was a deputy director with the National Security Council, and also was chief of staff at the Department of Defense. Now he's the FBI director. I think that's a pretty impressive background for someone leading the country's top law enforcement group. And we've seen all the stats he gave the committee showing how they're catching more bad guys now than the last director did. With that, I give the floor to the gentleman from South Carolina. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.